Hey everybody, good Wednesday morning. It is so great to be with you all. I am coming to you from beautiful Weather Springs, Florida on an absolutely gorgeous morning. It is beautiful. I've got a lot of SoCal, NorCal, and Baja information for you as I'm spending my last few hours here in Florida and headed back to Southern California tomorrow. Man, it's going to be with mixed emotions that I leave here because I've had two of the best weeks of my life with my grandson Finn and my son Patrick, his lovely wife Kaylin. It has been a very emotional time for me, very rewarding time. And, well, it's going to be hard to leave. But also, I'll get back and get you all caught up. We've got some great fishing trips in November. We'll be on the Apollo for a 2-day trip and then on the Independence for an 8-day trip. I cannot wait to chronicle that great trip for you all. Don't forget to hit that like button. We deeply appreciate it when you do that. Subscribe to the Friedman Adventures YouTube channel and tick that little bell. See it? Tick that bell. You'll be notified when there's new content. Also, you can follow us over there on Facebook, on TikTok, on Instagram, Apple Podcast, and Spotify. Highly recommend you do that because we do have breaking news over there. And the morning briefing is accessible on Instagram and on Facebook. Also, you can follow us on all those venues, which gives us so much reach. And we thank you all for the soaring statistics in 24. Looking forward to a bigger 25. It's going to be remarkable. All right, let's start you out in Mexico Lindo, down in Mexico, where we're going to talk San Quintin area, 140 miles below the border. That yellowfin tuna is still around. However, it's a lot more dicey. I know the Pegasus and our buddy Scott Bucher. Scott was out there, and Captain Sean Hardigan, who's a dear friend of mine, his lovely wife Mimi, they were down there. They said finding the porpoise, or I should say really the dolphin, were a lot more difficult on this trip. They only ended up with 9 yellowfin tuna. We are starting to see some hits like that, especially like on a day and a half trip or something like that where your window of opportunity is pretty darn small. It seems like you got to be on something like a 3-day trip. The New Loan just finished one up, and they had 80-some yellowfin tuna to 94 pounds. So they had some good YFT fishing. And part of the beauty of that down there has been the grade of fish. The Polaris Supreme on a 3-day trip, they had 24 guys with 77 yellowfin tuna. Hard to call that wide open, but pretty darn decent fishing that close to home on that grade of yellowfin tuna. I know a lot of the Baja guys out of San Quintin, K&M Sport Fishing, and other guys have been out hammering on that, and they have the ability to go a little bit further south as that fish seems to be pushing farther and farther south right now, probably chasing that warmer water. Yellowfin tuna are a warm water species of tuna, and they're going to slide down with that warm water. Probably take them down to Cabo for the winter time. So still some hits on that stuff. They're becoming more problematic and more difficult, not as good as they once were, but there's still a little bit of that yellowfin tuna around. And I'm not saying it's over. It could slide down and slide back up. We'll just have to see. And what's going to dictate that more than likely will be oceanography and the availability of bait. Taking a look at the Ensenada area, and that's a 70-mile drive down the Baja coast from Tijuana, Mexico. Down there in that neck of the woods, primarily rockfish right now. But there's been some late season barracuda. There's some offshore stuff, still some bluefin tuna. If you get lucky, you can come up with a bluefin tuna or two offshore there. Nothing wrong with that. But a lot of the guys are falling back on that rockfish. Some bass, yeah, you can catch some calico bass along Punta Banda and surrounding areas. One more time again, though, but a lot of rockfish and good rockfishing at that, and nothing wrong with that. So we'll keep our eyes on that. Let's go offshore and talk bluefin tuna. And I'll tell you, it's been pretty darn good. Not wide open every single trip. Plunker bite type of fishing where you're, got 3 or 4 fish going at a time. You're choosing a good hot bait. You're fishing 25-pound fluorocarbon. You're fishing that small hook, number 4 circle hook. Sometimes you can go up in the size of the hook and up in terms of the line test, depending on the intensity of the bite. But overall, that bite is still darn good. And what a blessing those bluefin have been for us for about a decade now. They continue to buy it. Out of San Pedro, if you're going to fish Cherry Bank, about an 80-mile run just so you know, out of San Diego, that's going to be 120 miles, about. Sometimes a little shorter of that. If you end up on Tanner Cortez, then it is shorter. Amigos, 16 guys with day and a half trip. 32 bluefin tuna, 5 sheephead, and 12 calico bass. Not bad at all. The Fury, 17 guys on a 2-day, 68 BFT. Those fish 30 to 40 pounds. Some get up over the 100-pound mark. Nice, beautiful grade of fish. The Legend 2-day trip out of San Diego with 35 bluefin tuna, and the Tribute on a 1.5-day trip. Nice trip for them. 56 on the bluefin tuna. So really good fishing. Most of it is fly line fishing. You do see some sinker fish caught. And you know, don't be afraid to throw something like a Daiwa, a Connor, or a Colt Sniper. Those jigs have been very, very effective at times, especially if you've got boiling fish up in the bow. You might want to sneak up there and chuck an iron with 50-pound and see if you can't hang one of those bigger fish on that heavier line. That'll give you a tremendous advantage, no question about that. If you have tax problems, call Tim Marquez right now. Tim will unravel all your tax problems. And for heating and or air conditioning needs, nobody better than John Lopez at Efficient Heating and Air Conditioning. All right, Coronado Islands, let's talk the Coronado Islands because we continue to see decent yellowtail action there. Now, for everybody, it's not a everyday thing, but overall, it has been pretty good. The San Diego was there for 33 yellowtail. There has been a lot of yo-yo ironfish and a lot of dropper loop fish, but we also now are seeing a lot of fly line fish. So in addition to those deep water bites you're getting fish on the fly line also. Nothing wrong with that. Liberty had 5 yellowtail on a recent trip to the Coronado Islands. The bite is not as great as it was a few months ago when we had spectacular fishing, but not bad. And in this beautiful fall weather, I don't know how you can beat it. Once again, we are having and experiencing great, beautiful weather on the offshore scene at the islands. It's just the most beautiful time of the year to fish. No question about that. Bounce you up to San Clemente Island, mostly rockfish there, but you can catch some bass and even some yellowtail there. Everybody who's around that island is mostly offshore fishing bluefin tuna up to Catalina Island. We take it where the El Patron, www. LongBeachSportFishing.org if you want to get on board the El Patron. They had some humongous, giant rockfish on their last trip, and they're fishing that deep water cod where you catch these jumbo reds and these giant bocaccio and some nice lings. Great fishing at Catalina Island for the deep water cod, fishing some zones that had been closed for decades until now. And that's why you're seeing these denizens of the deep surface from the depths. And man, they are beautiful. 16-ounce torpedo sinker. Highly recommended if you're going to Catalina Island, Channel Islands, Tucker McCombs, and the Endeavor on a Philip Wynn charter just a couple of days ago. 28 white sea bass. That keeps us watching that place very, very closely. Tucker's a great fisherman out of Ventura Sport Fishing. Does it on a regular basis, and it's been really good. The rest of the boys are, most of them, fishing the deep water cod, or they're fishing in the shallows for sheephead and whitefish, and they catch an occasional halibut in there like the Aloha Spirit did, but good cod fishing up there. And once again, absolutely gorgeous weather. It can't get any nicer than it is right now. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful weather. And the Island Spirit out of Ventura Sport Fishing's had some great trips here recently. Kids fish free on the Island Spirit on Sunday. Their last trip on Sunday, they loaded up on the nice big cod. Excellent trip from my good friend, Captain Daniel Hadaway. Daniel, I miss those live updates, man. I can't wait to get back to SoCal and start cranking those up again. And we're going to do a deep water cod trip with Daniel. When I get back, we'll get that all booked up and organized, and you can join us on that one. That should be a lot of fun. So some good fishing there. VenturaSportFishing.com. 805-676-3474 to get on the Island Spirit. I know you're going to love that. So really good fishing in terms of that. And then just, we'll do it this way. We'll get in and along the coast right now and talk about our coastal bite. And it's mostly all rockfish from San Diego up to Ventura. Same thing up there in Santa Barbara. Good rock fishing at the islands also. Avila Beach, Morro Bay, outside of there. Really good rock fishing. San Francisco's had great rock fishing, and they're still catching some bluefin tuna offshore. So that's good to see that So half and 3/4 day, that's what we have been catching in that neck of the woods. Long range fishing. Thought I was going to miss that, didn't you? Really excellent fishing going on. Soda Pop is on the Independence, having a great time catching yellowfin, tuna, wahoo, and yellowtail. Spectacular fishing on the long range scene continues into the fall, and I think it's only going to get better and better and better. I cannot wait for our November 8-day trip on the Independence. Don't forget, in April, a 5-day trip with your name written on. I'll be there to shoot that trip, to film that trip. It's going to be a fun one. I hope you can make that one. We would love to see you on board for that great trip. All right, and so that's what we got long range wise going on in the Southern California surf. Water temps are dropping, and because of that, we are seeing more and more barred perch. Barred perch love that cooler water, so you need to get down to Big Fish Bait and Tackle in the beautiful city of Seal Beach. Buy the ruler down there. Just go in, buy the ruler, and they'll tune you up on how you can win a brand new custom surf fishing rod every single month. Buy the ruler, that's it. Every month, a new rod is given away. You're in the contest automatically. They've got all the bait you need, lures, and everything else. Bar perch down there by the Huntington Beach Pier. Sand crabs are available at the pier with a sand crab catcher, or you can dig them up by hand if you prefer to do it the old-fashioned way. You can also catch some nice spot fin croaker there at Anderson and Pacific Coast Highway with a long cast. I like a worm that you can pick up there at Big Fish Bait and Tackle in Surfside. We're seeing some yellowfin croaker in there and halibut around the Long Beach area, El Segundo, some yellowfin croaker up there, occasional corvina, and still some of that in the Santa Monica Bay down in the Redondo area around Topaz and the old pier. We're seeing some corvina, but a lot more of those smaller perch running around with some decent ones mixed in. All right, my friends, another gorgeous day here in Florida. I've had an outstanding time heading back to Southern California tomorrow morning. Can't wait to see you all really, really soon. I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully you'll jump on that Apollo trip that we have coming up, or that April trip that we have on the Independence. Our 8-day trip's been sold out for a year. Take care. Have a great one, and I hope to see you really, really soon.